Okay, welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us this morning for the panel discussion, Building Successful Apps with Canva. I am absolutely thrilled to have three fantastic developer partners on stage with me this morning. They're here to share their journey of building a Canva app, and I can't wait for you to hear their stories. I'm Warren Chen, Head of Ecosystem Partnerships and Developer Success here at Canva, and I'll be the moderator. I joined Canva back in September, so about 9 months ago, and I have over a decade of experience in app ecosystems, most notably with Atlassian and Salesforce. So without further ado, let's meet the panelists. Dor, why don't you kick us off?
First of all, thank you for having us here. It's really been a pleasure. We got lots of attention and love from Canva and truly appreciate it. So I'm Dor. I'm a director of product at DID. We are an Israeli-based startup based in Tel Aviv. We make photos move. That means we take an image, we add text or audio, and we generate a video of a hyper-realistic digital avatar. We are an API-first company. That means our core business is our API and our technology. And then we build products around it that consume this technology. We have our in-house tool called the Creative Reality Studio. And then we also build apps like the app we built for Canva.
Thanks, Dor. And Susan.
Hi.
Share a little bit about yourself and you're part of Amazon.
I'm also very excited to be here. My name is Susan, and I have been at Amazon for over 4.5 years and have always sit within the global ad tech and partner development org. We focus on business development technology partnerships, and I specifically, with my team, focus on creative. I guess ultimately my career started back in rich media, and it's where I really fell in love with how digital ads engaged customers through like unique and innovative brand experiences. And within this team, I'm so excited to see this relationship with Canva come to life. We're focused on driving quality customer experiences through innovative, scalable, and strategic business development partnerships. And I'm lucky enough to have a team that feels passionate about the creative space as I do. And so being here today is super exciting.
Thank you, Susan. It's been great working with your team and really excited about all the opportunities we have going forward. Joe, mind closing us out for the intros?
I'm Joe Herkin. I'm the CEO of Issue, and I'm thrilled and excited to be here and be participating in this event. I think it's always great to be part of the creativity ecosystem and watch it evolve and expand and engage with tools that are more helpful for creators. So I'm the CEO of Issue. We are a massive digital publishing platform, and we enable creators, marketers, businesses to take the content that they're creating in Canva and then share and distribute that digitally. So we enable businesses to take their marketing materials, sales collateral, brochures, catalogs, all that kind of content, transform it into different assets, host it, share it, and then enable them to have their users engage with that content wherever they happen to be. And the transformations we do include everything from a video and link enhanced paginated version of that content to AI generated articles from that content to GIFs that can be embedded in a MailChimp email and a whole range of other assets as well. So happy to be here. And I think of us, Issue, Canva, all the folks in and around this ecosystem as part of the Story Cloud, the tools and services that a business uses to be able to tell their story to their audience wherever they are digitally.
Thank you, Joe. It's been great having you here, and we've been working very closely with your team over the past week.
We
really appreciate
lots of late
taking the
night
time to join us today. Okay, let's get to the first meaty question. Can you briefly share what your Canva app does or will do in the case of Amazon, and why did you decide to build an app on Canva? Susan?
Yes, some of you may or may not know, but Amazon sort of abides by this set of leadership principles. And one of probably the most important one is customer obsession. And we really do use it as a guiding force for making decisions on where we should invest our time and business and resources. And we're expanding the ability of our advertisers to meet their customers at any part of the customer journey through engaging brand experiences. And high quality video is the most impactful way that we can do that. So we decided that we would build an app on Canva. with over 135 million monthly active users, if you guys have heard today. It's highly and widely adopted, not only by creators and developers, but also by even advertisers, sellers, and my Amazon colleagues. And so through this integration, what we're allowing is for our advertisers and sellers to pull their images from their Amazon listing directly into the Canva app, check that ad for common rejection reasons, and then seamlessly transfer that finalized creative asset directly into the Amazon Creative Assets library for them to use across Amazon. One of the hurdles is when a non-compliant ad creative gets rejected. Today, this mainly happens when an advertiser uploads their assets into the campaign builder. They then receive an error message why that asset is not compliant. But unfortunately, that error message isn't being delivered to the right stakeholder in the right place with which they can change it. So the ad is on hold until the game of telephone delivers the updated asset. The pre-moderation API and what we've built into the Canva app is going to be key to rectify this. And flagging a common rejection reason like this, like typo or letterboxing at the point of the creative, saves a great deal of time.
Thanks, Susan. When I first was talking to you and the team about this use case, like, it was really exciting because Canva is perfect for this. Us and what we're doing from an ecosystem and app perspective and platform perspective, we want that workflow and that game of telephone to go away, and we think Canva is a perfect tool to do that.
We agree.
Dor, maybe give your story again. I'm sure everyone's heard it a few times, but maybe a quick overview again.
Indeed. So let me quickly walk you through the app. So basically, with DID AI presenters, any Canva user can add a digital avatar onto any Canva design. So it's a fairly simple app, but the outcome is very powerful, very impressive. And you start by choosing an avatar either from our gallery, or you upload your own avatar. I can share with you that most of our users are actually either uploading their own photos, or they create photos with Stable Diffusion and DALL-E, and we're seeing lots of animated AI avatars. So you start by that. You add text. We're soon going to be able to add audio as well. And you choose your language. It's not just languages. You can choose English, US, Australian, New Zealand, English, like tons of accents. And then you choose the voice style, and you generate the video, and it puts it directly onto your Canva design. So it's fairly straightforward. And about why we wanted to have our app in Canva, I'll go one step backwards, how we started thinking about that. So basically, as I mentioned, we're an API company, we're a technology company, and we focused first thing on creating the best API for creating digital avatars. Once we had that accomplished, we were looking into building apps around it to use this technology in third parties, just like Canva. Back then, we started when we were looking into the learning and development industry, and we started with building an app for PowerPoint, and it's up and running. But then we wanted to reach wider audiences and possibly younger audiences that are more fit for our technology. And we started debating within the company, what app shall we build? Who's going to be next? And I suggested, well, we should probably ask designers, ask users what they want. And I ran this survey in Facebook in a dedicated designer group, and they voted unanimously for Canva. It's an amazing story. Unanimously, I mean like 3 times higher than the next one in line. And I was actually quite amazed, because I never realized that corporates, organizations, teams, they are using Canva as their main design tool. But they do. That's what the numbers said, and we went for it. I looked deeper into it, and I learned that Canva attracts a younger audience, one that is more willing to try out new innovations, new ideas, be more experimental. And that's exactly the right fit for our product, for our technology. Back then, Canva just opened their beta API, and we submitted our app along with a few thousands of others, anywhere from students to startups to enterprises. And we got in with a few hundreds of others. And we ultimately ended up being featured, as you've noticed, and got lots of attention. And I'm very happy to be part of it.
Thank you, Dor. And I can't wait to talk about the story of like building that app from when we first talked in January. And Joe?
Yeah, so at its simplest, the Issue app marries great publishing in the form of Issue with great creation in the form of Canva. So the app is really exciting for us. It enables, again, businesses, marketers, creators to take that marketing content, collateral, brochures, all of that content that they're creating in Canva, export it to Issue, and then in Issue, we host it, they're able to share it, we do that transformation for them. And one of the things that we make available in Issue is a whole set of data and analytics around how that content is actually being consumed by users on all the different channels where that content exists. And we're then migrating both the content that's hosted in Issue and that data back into Canva so that when users are creating again, they have all the data and analytics about how that creation performed, and they can use that information in turn so that when they're making their next brochures, their next catalogs, they can see which pages performed better than others, which locations it performed better in, which devices it performed on, all of those sorts of pieces of information. And then in addition, anything that happens to be hosted and shared through Issue now becomes available to reuse in Canva. So you can take pages of any of that content and use it in any of your next creations as well. So it's a really exciting app. It's sort of this full cycle creation, publishing, and analytics system that we've created. You know, for us, we believe really strongly, we've heard earlier today in the importance of the ecosystem and the efficiency of workflows. And we're seeing more and more businesses, particularly SMBs, but large companies as well, getting overwhelmed with the amount of content that they need to create and the number of channels that content needs to go to. I find it really important, and I'm emphasizing it all the time with our team at Issue, to make sure that the tools that we're making available work really well with the other tools that our customers are making available. And I think it's one of the most important things for any software company right now is to be looking at how do our tools interact with the other tools that a business is using, because no tools are being used in isolation anywhere anymore. It's all about that integration and the workflow. So Canva users have been using Issue for years. They create their content, then upload it to Issue. But in the summer of 2021, we started to see this huge spike of both number of Canva creators uploading and leveraging Issue for publishing and distribution, as well as the amount of content that was coming into the system. And it was just month over month, more and more content. So it was sort of natural for us to want to explore that more. And it was happening without us doing any marketing or Canva doing any marketing, just happening naturally in the ecosystem. So we built our first app in the winter of 22, more just to experiment, just to see, like, are there ways for us to make this more efficient, more effective for customers? And, you know, again, we've just continued to see this massive growth. In fact, in the last 2 years, we've seen 9x the amount of content created in Canva uploaded to Issue, and we continue to see that kind of growth. So it was a no-brainer. Again, the combination of the value we're able to deliver to our customers, make sure we're providing a delightful experience, and just the efficiency that we're able to make available together with Canva. Super exciting for the ecosystem.
Thanks, Joe. I mean, like 9x content coming from Canva. Like, again,
really
sounds
cool,
like it's
right?
really resonating.
It's working. I mean, it's, yeah. And it's all happened
exciting.
so organically, which is
Yeah.
one of the things that's exciting about it is, you know, in a lot of ways, we've seen the users drive this partnership, and we're just catching up.
Yeah. I mean, we're here to ride the wave with you.
All right, let's do it. Drum roll, please.
Yeah. Okay, next question for the panel. Please share experiences building on the Canva Developers Platform. Dor, why don't you start us off?
Yes, sure. So let me share a fun fact with you. Talking about it earlier, and I learned that Joe had similar experience. Our app was built by 2 people. That is me as a product, but mostly by our app's developer. His name is Vlad, in less than 2 months. So anyone who's been through this experience will tell you this is pretty fast. And it's true that Vlad is very talented, and he is, but it definitely wouldn't have been possible without this amazing dedication and support that we got from Canva. And I'm talking about both the engineering team and the product team being very much available on this Slack channel, but also there was this developer community evolving there, developers asking questions, trying to help each other, point each other in the right direction. So we started simply by just like anyone there, downloading Start Kit from GitHub, and basically it contained very simple code examples. We were coding from day one. There was hardly any like a learning curve. You just saw it earlier in the keynote. It popped the hello world into the canvas, and we just basically started coding. Then we got the Figma file. I'm originally a designer. That's where I started from. So I'm very sensitive to anything that has to do with the design. And that Figma file was just describing all the major use cases and components, buttons, forms, hover, border radius. Basically, we didn't have to put any thought in that space. And Canva has a very, very simple and straightforward native style guide. And eventually, that one makes the app look like a natural extension of Canva itself, rather than something designed externally to it. Yeah, so basically, that made the design experience so much more streamlined. We did have some issues with embedding videos. Back then, the API wasn't fully supporting it, and we needed some help. And I remember I asked you for helping us get a meeting, and we did get a meeting, and you sent me an invite for 6 o'clock in the morning. Now, we don't do business meetings at 6. I hardly meet myself at 6 o'clock in the morning. And I asked you why, and Warren just mentioned, well, we want to have our San Francisco team attend, but we also want to have our New Zealand team attend. And that meeting did happen. We woke up at 5:30 in the morning to attend it on time, and that meeting was very, very fruitful. And I remember I was just amazed how Canva just went out of the way to come and listen and to see what we need and how to make that thing happen. And eventually, when we submitted the app for a review, the API was still not 100% with video embedding. By the way, it is fully now. It's working great. But the review team actually approached me and said, look, we're working on this new capability with the API. It's meant for you. You're a heavy video user. Why won't you try it out? And we did, and we had it up and running in 2-3 days. We got early access. It wasn't public yet. It wasn't live. It was working perfectly well. That took our app from being okay to being superb. And ultimately, when we submitted the app for a review again, that feature was live back then, and that made our launch process just so much better. I can share with you that right before I flew in, I asked our developer Vlad, I asked him how he would describe this process, and he said, I really felt that the Canva team want to make my life easier, and that is, most of you are developers, a lot of you, that is not something I normally hear from developers, that somebody's trying to make their life easier. All in all, I can say that the support level we got from Canva was just outstanding.
Thanks, Dor. I mean, I remember we had our first conversation in December, I believe. And then within a month, you're like, okay, we're gonna build. It was pretty fast and intense, but
Indeed.
It has been great partnership working with you, and you provided us a lot of feedback as well, which was really appreciated in launching that video import capabilities. Joe, why don't you?
Yeah,
Give us
so it's been a good experience.
Yeah, and one thing you mentioned that you built, your first app about a year ago. You built the second app.
So the first app was we sort of built on our own. We just put it in the App Exchange to sort of see what would happen, and so in the second app we worked much more closely with you, and we found all the documentation, as Dora mentioned, was really helpful and useful. But I would say the biggest element to all of it was just working with you. Often when working with a partner, the partner will say, here's what's going to happen, and it sort of doesn't. In this case, we started building, the key component that we needed was the export functionality, and we started building before it was done. And both Anwar and Warren said it's coming, and it arrived on time as we needed it, and we're able to get it into the app, which ended up enabling us to provide the features and the functionality that we wanted to make available. And again, at the end of the day, what we found is even as we were finalizing the app, we got significant feedback from the team. And on one hand, our developers thought, okay, more feedback, we have to go make more changes. But all the feedback was good. And what I also liked about it is that you didn't just send us feedback and say, go deal with it. Warren was getting on Zoom meetings to help us walk through it and understand what that feedback was. We looked at how to apply it in the most effective ways so that we could get the app to market and make it available, and also make sure that we were doing it within the context that mattered for Canva. And I always felt the whole time that the feedback we were getting from Canva was because it was trying to make it the best possible experience for these 135 million customers. It never felt like we were being pushed to do something for wrong reasons. And our team worked really hard on this, and were up late at night doing the work. I never got any complaints. They were excited to be working on this project and to be delivering impact. And I think, for me as a CEO, it's one of the things I always hope for is that we have people on the team that are really excited about what we're building and about who we're building it for. That's what we're doing. That's the whole point of this, is to provide better, more efficient capabilities and tools for the human beings that are, trying to communicate with our audience.
Yeah. So it's been great working with you, Joe. And thank you for humoring me. I know that first meeting I was giving you some advice on maybe capabilities for your app. So, I secretly want to be a product manager. So thank you for humoring me on that.
Well, you're hired.
Okay, well,
For sure.
Anwar, did you hear that?
But I will say, again, one of the things that made this experience as positive as it's been for us is that you didn't just say, well, what's the app you're going to build? You were involved literally from the beginning, and we really appreciated that input, and we incorporated your ideas and Canva's ideas into what we're building. So it's been a good partnership.
Yeah. And just remind us, when was our first conversation? How long did it take to build the second app?
We met mid-March.
Yeah.
And it
And
took
probably started building in May, or sorry, not May, April.
April.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we built it fast, and again, it was really a joint effort, and a lot of it was possible because of the groundwork that you'd put in place.
Excellent. Thank you. Susan, we've been kind of working with Amazon for a while in a couple of different capacities. Talk about your experience.
Yeah. So we are also very excited and had a really positive experience working with Canva. We were lucky enough to have the support of our AWS solution architects to help with this integration. Being that Canva is such a big customer of AWS, the solution architects were already sort of well-versed with the Canva platform from a recent participation in their hackathon. And so really helped the cause. We also had a joint Slack workspace that the teams communicated within, which helped to sort of like span the various time zones that everybody sat within, as well as just made the communication very effective, responsive, and everybody was just really positive. We're really excited to see how this app helps sellers and advertisers create high quality, compliant creative. 88% say that they've been convinced to make a purchase after watching a brand's video, according to a study that we did with Wise Owl back in 2022. That's pretty significant. Making it easier for these users of all skill levels to produce quality ads, for me, is a very worthwhile endeavor. And we're excited to continue to build more capabilities within Canva, continuing to streamline the production of quality content for Amazon sellers and advertisers, as well as our employees.
I just want to say one other quick thing related to both what Dora and Susan said. One of the other things about this is that the interaction happened globally, right? So we had people in New Zealand and Australia and California and Europe, and everybody was able to chip in ways that just felt seamless, and you were prepared for that.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, and that's actually a good segue. Like, we were working with your team in Australia and New Zealand on the hackathon. You're actually building an app for us. How often does that happen at Amazon?
No, it actually doesn't at all. Well, not at all. But within our organization, it's not typically how our partners go through with an API integration. It is something that typically the partner does themselves. And so this was a new adventure for us, at least within our team. And so we were lucky to have the expertise from the AWS solution architects to fill that gap and to make this happen so quickly. And I think more of what they did was actually work together to identify 5 top sponsor brands verticals that we focused on. We filled out a creative brief, we provided best practices and examples, and we were able to deliver 25 templates, which for us is a great start for our sellers and advertisers to start developing content, especially with Prime Day quickly approaching.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely excited to work on that. And we actually have been working so closely with your team. We have a few of your solution architects downstairs with our developer
Yes.
team. So yeah, it's been a great partnership. Okay, so now it's probably the question that everyone's stayed through the whole session with us for. Like, what are the results that you've been seeing with your app so far? And what are you looking forward to for the future?
Yeah, so again, this has been an effort that has been really joint user led and inspired, right? So our users figured out how to use the two of us together before we did. And so we've been seeing really significant growth because it started there as opposed to us saying, hey, here's what you should be doing, right? So we've seen just, again, this massive growth. I mentioned earlier, we've seen 9x increase in content created in Canva, uploaded and published through Issue over the last 2 years. We've seen more than 4x in joint Canva and Issue users. So the content is 9x. The number of people who are using us has increased by 4x in the last 2 years. We're seeing a 6x increase of AI-generated articles that are generated from content created in Canva. And we've seen, from a business perspective, we've seen a 7x increase of Canva users who are paying Issue as well. So we're seeing, business users increasingly using us together for sure. So we're looking forward to just ongoing deeper integration and functionality. There's some specific functionality we want to build into the app, the ability to re-upload content automatically. We want to make the workflow much smoother. We want to enable people to be able to get the full experience of what happens from the export to publishing to the data going back into Canva. We want to make that much more efficient and easier. And then we want to also provide editing capabilities between the two as well. But generally, we're just going to keep listening to our customers, seeing what they want, and make sure that we're building out accordingly.
I mean, again, so excited for everything that you've shared with us in terms of like your results. Again, we think that us two together is a really strong use case for our joint user base, and the two-way integration. I think that's really important.
It's really cool. Yeah.
Not just sending things from Canva over to Issue, but having a little bit of that bi-directional is really, really powerful.
Yeah, it really closes this loop. I mean, it sort of makes this, it enables users to now have this creation, publishing, analytics ecosystem that they're able to take full advantage of and apply that to their work. And again, we're making their workflow better.
Thank you. Susan, I think you're up. Maybe share a little bit about what you're looking forward to. I know your app is still in development, but it's going to be going live soon.
So as Warren mentioned, we are very much just sort of coming to an end maybe of like the first iteration of what this app will look like within Canva. And so we're really just excited about a lot of our customers getting access to these templates and getting access to the ability to make high quality compliant creative. I think with Prime Day approaching so quickly, it's another little plug there, guys. It really is important that we are enabling our advertisers and sellers to do this effectively. And in fact, a Prime Day stat that we've recently launched with was that for any user that has launched with a sponsor brands campaign with the video format, they're about 284% more likely to have purchased goods. And so essentially, if you have a video within your creative or your campaign, you're going to be that much more successful on Amazon. And so we're really excited to see that happen. And we're excited to see the templates and the library of templates within Canva grow, right? I mean, we're just at the starting gate here. And so just excited to continuously build with you guys and do more together.
We are as well, and you kind of talked about like, high quality assets coming from Canva. Obviously that's what our bread and butter is, make everybody be able to create really high quality visuals, and video is kind of like the key, asset type that we're all working on. So we're really excited to continue to work with you on that. Dor, maybe share some additional insights into kind of like some of the results you've seen over the past 2.5 months.
Yes, gladly. So we launched around mid-late March, I think. That was around the Canva Create conference. And we've seen like great activity right from the start. We've seen 600-700 signups a day. And I'm talking not just signups, it's signups, user adding scripts, adding avatars, generating videos. That like went off, it took off straight from the start. And we were available back then to English-speaking locales only, but as the rollout proceeded, we are available to more and more audiences, and very much soon we will be fully available worldwide. It just coincided with our in-house tool called the Creative Reality Studio going crazy viral. I'm talking about like 5-figure signups a day. And we've seen both our studio and our Canva app actually growing together, influencing each other, users shifting between. And we're now standing at the point where we have, it was mentioned in the keynote, we have a new user signing up to our Canva app every 15 seconds, like as we are now sitting here speaking. This is like, every time I'm thinking about it, it's like mind-boggling. That's super, super exciting. Looking ahead, we are looking to make our app available on Canva mobile. Most of our products so far are being used on desktops, devices only. So combining our technology with Canva's huge mobile audience, I believe will take us to the next usage level. And looking forward to our pipeline, we're working on some really amazing things. Sometimes when I'm telling it to people, I live this industry, so it seems reasonable to me. When I'm telling it to people, they think it's sci-fi. And I'm talking about adding expressions, controlling the avatar, emotions, being able to control hand movements and gestures, upload your own voice, choose from a new set of hyper-realistic voices. This is really like crazy stuff. And this is coming up in the next few months. And I'm very, very grateful for this opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, 4 new users of DID every minute, that's an amazing stat. And we definitely are aligned with you that, once you're available on mobile as well, that's just going to help it skyrocket even faster. Because we know that there's that synergy there. Our users want tools like yours.
Yes, I can also tell you that I made like a company presentation about our Canva, and I described the process and everything, and I put this blinking red dot at every slide at the bottom. And at the end of that presentation, I asked the guys at the company, do you know what that blinking dot is? And nobody knew. And I said, every time that dot blinked, that's a new Canva users installing our app. And everybody was like,
yeah,
that jaw dropped.
When I shared some of those numbers and some of the quotes from you with our team, they were also very, very impressed and very excited. I think that's it for the session. It's been, a really great 40 minutes, enthralling 40 minutes with each of you. I really appreciate the incredible stories and the insightful discussion that you've had with me this morning, just about your experience building an app with us. I'm personally immensely grateful for all the effort that you've put in and all the generosity you've had in sharing your story with our developer community here. And it's been absolutely fantastic working with each of you over the past several months.
Just the start.
It's just a start. Yeah, we're 1% of the way there, as everyone at Canva likes to say. So with that, Please join me in giving a big round of applause to Susan, Joe, and Dor.